Yo, how we doing? Good morning, good morning. Yo. Alright, sounds good. Oh, let me know if the music's too loud. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Team R, Sebi, Mallow, DMC, Red. How we doing? How we doing? Let's see what the market's doing today. Big gap up in pre-market. Already tested the close of yesterday. I don't know, what was it, like here? Close enough? Not even. I guess that we can do this. There you go. Haven't tested it yet. So you could throw an AV WAP on here because we had a gap up. You could have one from yesterday's first candle, which we already do. Get rid of this one to avoid confusion. And let's see. Music's a bit loud. Okay, let me turn it on. Hopefully a little better. Not loud enough. Crank. Not loud enough. Crank. Not loud enough. Crank. Alright, I think it should be better. Alright, so we'll see what the market does. I have low expectations of today. Pretty big move yesterday. Down with some support being found at the end of the day. And we're still inside this big old green candle that we had after the 90-day tariff pause. This is a tough market, guys. This is a really tough market. You know, you're like kind of in this range bound like choppiness. There's definitely like what feels like a bearish overtone to the market, but we will see. We'll definitely see. What's going on, Broccoli? Let's look at the economic calendar first real quick. This morning you had jobless claims. Looks like they came in below the forecast, which I mean, if you listen to Powell yesterday, that was probably the hawkish Powell's been when you got good economic indicators that you'll ever hear. He, in my mind, pretty much professionally gave the administration a little bit of the middle finger. Yeah, and he just kept repeating that, you know, it's unpredictable with the policy from this administration. So with that in mind, I mean, and you could see the retaliation from Trump this morning. He posted on Truth Social saying he wants to fire him, which he's already been saying. So keep that in mind. Definitely interesting. I think Jerome Powell, you know, for the shittiest hand dealt ever to a Fed chair, I think he's probably done the best you can with a really shitty deck of cards, or hand of cards, you could say. So anyways, you see the jobless claims coming down. What does that tell you? You know, it's not good. Previously, bad news is good news because it means that we're closer to a cut. But Powell had been dovish about a cut, but hawkish about the unpredictability of the policy from coming out of the administration. I don't know. Take it for what we will. Housing starts down. I also read something about overall housing starts for, I think it was the year, or for January, were really bad too. So definitely not in a good place. Fed manufacturing survey down significantly. I mean, that's my my thought, that even though Powell's seeing good economic numbers, indicators right now, a lot of it is is trickling in and kind of the residual from the last administration. And I think we're going to see something a little bit different for Q1, especially with the GDP calculation. There was the forecast being negative. I think jobs are going to start to get worse because of all the things with tariffs. And I know that in big tech and some other industries, they're already starting to talk about, what that's going to be in terms of impact on the economy. You have tons of banks that are saying that there's recession concerns, and they keep, raising and lowering based on what comes out around tariffs. The recession, uh, like calculator, basically that they have running. And, I mean, you saw JPM say it the other week. You saw BAC say it the other week. And then the question becomes, we're coming into earnings season. So we had first week of earnings season, right? And banks always go first. Banks haven't been too bad. TSM had good earnings yesterday, which is or last night, which is obviously a little bit of a indicator for semiconductors. ASML, same thing. So yeah, banks haven't been coming in too bad. The thing that you'll want to keep an eye on, and I'll probably do some more digging over the weekend, is guidance, and see how they're guiding for some of these businesses. Because that's the biggest concern, right? Is, are we moving towards a recessionary environment, stagflationary environment, and how will that impact these different sectors? Banks should definitely have some sort of idea on that. But obviously, the 90-day pause on tariffs leaves a lot of room for interpretation, and this market is still solely, from my perspective, news driven, right? And when you realize that, you see why the price action that we saw yesterday, as an example, is the way it is, right? And what happened. You see, you know, a newsy solo candle like that, right? Um, anyways, stuff to keep in mind. Um, yeah, so looking at earnings, you got a lot coming up. You have Netflix today after hours. That'll be interesting, and obviously, I think the market's closed tomorrow, right? For Easter. So this was a good week to sell some premium earlier in the week with the move down last week, and then I'm sorry, it was selling premium last week. I'm losing track of time on a couple the Mag 7 stocks. I know I sold it on, I think, Tesla and a couple other ones, Costco for sure. Because IVs are still just so pumped. I sold puts, and then I also actually sold calls the other day too, earlier this week, and took a small winner on that too. So, but yesterday mainly I was short in this move and had a really big day. So that was nice. Needed that. Needed to see that in this tough trading environment. So what's going on, chocolate? So yeah, we'll start jumping into some of this stuff. Like we said, there's earnings. Keep an eye on this. You have to be aware. If you're trading something and there's some sort of sympathy play out there that's getting news, well, you better be aware. And if you're not, you have only yourself to blame for that. Might get a slow drift up today with holiday, no news on the horizon. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what's next week too here in the calendar. Um, Economic indicators, Harker, beige book, new home sales. Yeah, I mean, the cycle just continues, man. It just keeps rolling every week. See what happens next. So between that, between earnings next week, it's gonna continue here with a lot of banks and finance. You have Tesla on Tuesday, RTX, Danaher. Yeah, so I mean, you have some interesting ones. IBM, airplanes, Southwest, Texas Instruments, Intel. So you'll get a little bit of some insight into a bunch of different sectors here. So we'll see. Definitely going to be interesting. And like I said, I'll be keeping an eye out on guidance. I think that's going to be really important. All right, so a little bounce today. Where did it bounce off of? The gap up? Right there. One standard deviation. And so that's it. Izzy is the one I'm kind of like crediting with finding this thing, but it's the last candle of the day, gap up, standard deviation off of or I'm sorry, AVWAP off of that candle. I think he calls it like anchored, yesterday's anchored VWAP or something. All right, and so we'll see what the market does here. I don't really use pre-market levels, but I do think that, when it tests, tests some of these horizontal levels in pre-market, I think that there's some relevance. Like probably something here, especially with this candle, right? And I think that's probably, what time was this? Yeah, this was the news, right? Coming off of, where is it? Jobless claims. Jobless claims? I don't know, something else. So anyways, you want to see how some of those things correlate, and we'll see if this is going to be a lid for today. We'll see if it's going to be some resistance up ahead. And we're just inside, right? We're inside yesterday's candle after the news started coming in from Powell. Well, that means, what's in the title? LPTE a little bit, right? Anyway, so keep that in mind. And in doing so, right, the rules don't change. The thought process doesn't change. We in notes. I mean, we made this so long ago. I can't remember the date. This must have been, I don't know, a couple months back, right? What were our strategy changes as the market was turning? FOMO's worse here. Don't be FOMO Joe. If you're unsure, can't see the market, sit on your hands. It's equally as important. I mean, Harry was saying it yesterday in that video. Uh, there's a lot of people that are trading that probably shouldn't be. And Izzy pointed out to me too that Dave Wise is taking like minimal trades. I mean, there's a lot of just gambling going on. I don't know. I see it both ways. I see, a world where you have to be able to still trade, even in bad conditions. Uh, but you can also get burned. That's the double-edged sword. So you got to be able to reel it in here in tougher conditions, right? But look both ways. Better best picks. This one is what's been saving me. And then the other side of that too is because IVs are so juiced, and I'm gonna add that here. With juiced IVs, consider selling theta or giving yourself more time. This is counterintuitive, giving yourself more time. And what I mean by this is you should go a week plus further out and pay a little bit extra of the premium just to get a better entry, but also to give yourself a little bit more leeway, more time. Because, the weeklies, especially after Tuesday, they just start getting juiced so hard in this IV environment because they're so pumped IVs that even a little move can really wreck you if you're not careful. So think about that. Broccoli says the AVBOT from April 9th, 90-day pause is at 5:30. April 9th. Yeah, I mean, that's probably a good day. Such a big day. We have all these AVO ops. There's like a lot of AVO ops that are coming in here that are relevant, that are, going to be kind of interesting. So, and that's the hard part is that your charts can start to get really messy. I'm going to get rid of which one? Monday 31st. I don't think that's AVO op Q, right? Isn't it the 21st? Yes, that's AVO op Q from Triple Witching. I believe this one is all-time high. Yep. So we'll leave that one. So we have Triple Witching, AVO op Q, we have all-time high, and then you have from the 90-day tariff pause. Those are the three that I have on there right now. And you can see, look, they're all, well, not that one. Sorry, what is this one? It's hard to, oh, it's just yesterday's. Yeah. So, I mean, to me, those seem like the ones that are relevant that you should keep on your chart. I used M5 to set it. Not sure that matters. On the first candle. Yeah, it's possible. What's going on, Alec? I don't know, man. It's LPTE, and when I first started up the channel, I was thinking I was gonna just flip a bunch of charts, which I may. But who knows? I haven't been streaming that much this week because exactly that, right? This is a not great trading environment, and I'm in there kind of trying to hash out some trades and keep it moving, and it's tough. Um, like I said earlier, though, I had a really good day yesterday. We're doing all right, doing all right. So, um, yeah. So some bullish price action so far. Like we said, we think it will test a level up here, which coincides with yesterday's I'm sorry, with the AVU op Q, and that seems probably, like Broccoli's saying, going to be the relevant like a ceiling there. So let's see. We'll see how it interacts. We'll jump over to sectors real quick. Gold has been absolutely pumping. Today it's down, which is kind of interesting, but it moves up. It moves kind of counter to the market a little bit. But look at the jump yesterday. Or was that yesterday? Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday, the day before. I mean, dude, it's absolutely flying. And what is gold? Gold is a fear, a little bit of a fear measure, but it's been at all-time highs, right? So something to keep in mind. TLT coming down a little bit, kind of interesting. SMH is the weakest sector that you can find here. XLV is the other one following behind it. We can just look at these on D1 real quick just to see what we're looking at. And this is kind of what I would expect based on what the market's doing, right? You're below all SMAs, below the cloud, and curling a little bit. Can you throw an A view up on some of these and see? Maybe. Might be some relevance there. Let's go back to SMH and look at that one. Same story. Right? And so the trend is bearish. So in theory, I mean, you can tell I'm looking to the downside. XLV showing some weaknesses of late. Yeah, I mean, definitely something there. Hack is the other one. It looks like it's break even, but you're just below the 200. Is there some sort of support you could find? So I was looking at hack stocks earlier. I didn't really see anything yet. We'll flip through those. TAN, is a big mover. You got to keep an eye on that one if you want to try and trade that volatility. Yeah, and so everything else doesn't look like it's having too bad of a day. Mags as well, hanging out down here. Death cross there on the ETF for Mags. Something to think about. But yeah, Death cross is what? Bearish, right? And that's the way I think you should be trading. All right, turn that off. And let's see how it all goes. Get the S&P 500 map. So we went through earnings that are coming up. We'll probably check that again later. We talked through news a little bit. Here's your S&P 500 map. Energy pretty green. Mixed bag in here, kind of interesting. So we'll definitely take a look in there. We'll take a look in semiconductors because it's kind of weak. I don't know what's going on with LMT getting wrecked, but you have Raytheon earnings next week, so whatever you're going to be doing there, you better be aware. What's this? GPN, WST, MSC. A couple of financials not doing great in here either. So that's an interesting subsector between insurance versus the banks. And then credit cards as well. Doesn't look like they're doing great either, which, you're in finance earnings season, so keep that in mind. GPN looking nice. Yeah, we'll see. What's going on, Profit? How we doing, man? Okay, let's look at some of these. I'll flip hack real quick because we were just in here. S below all SMAs and curling a little bit. If we look on the intraday, maybe some weakness. But the market's curling right here too, so it doesn't really matter too much, in my opinion. All these lines are really messing with me here. I think I need to change the view op color. We'll do it later. All right. Anyways, bouncing back to view op here on SPY. Testing view op. So you had S below view op, kind of interesting. The one's the weakest, quote unquote, so far in hack. ZS, nothing here. If you look at the daily, there's way too much support forming here. Where we'd be interested, another dump out of the 200, probably. Maybe a dump out of this. So you can set some alerts there. 10B, the volume sucks on this thing, but it is weak, it looks like. Um, yeah, look at the volume. Hard to trade, but definitely weak. D1 crowd, the other one that had bounced and back up here, nothing really here. Qualsys, weak, but also I think low volume. So I don't know. I might just take those off. Pan W, checkpoint, nothing in the cloud. Between the SMAs, between SMAs, where would be interested? Probably breach of this. Even then, it doesn't move crazy. FTNT, probably nothing there. Okay, we were gonna go into what was it? Well, either way, energy is on a flyer this morning. We know energy trades sometimes counter to the market. Nice hammer coming off of you up. We'll go to XLV here. Why not? UNH getting nuked. Is this earnings? Yeah. Couldn't happen to a nicer company. Wow. That is a hammer blow to those guys. When I see lack of volume, are you talking about in the market or on a stock? What's going on, guys? How are we doing? Good morning. Good morning. The gang's all here. Volume on the market is important. I don't look at it as much as other people do, I think. Volume's kind of the rocket fuel. It means, yeah, institutions are involved and you're seeing, buying and or selling at that level. So obviously it's important, but I don't, probably don't see me talk about it too much. I think it's, a part of the picture, but not really. On stocks, it's more important, in my opinion. And you like it, but you don't have to see it. I mean, gold is definitely weak today for whatever reason. But I also think that gold, the dollar, and markets kind of move inverse in a way. So Starbucks was Pete's pick yesterday. I mean, this thing was a great trade. I traded this in here as well off of a rejection of UOP. Actually, I think I took it like right here. And then I don't know, I exited like here or something on accident. Not on accident. I mean, I still took a good win, but it's a tough environment. Yesterday was most of my shorts. It was hard to stay in them. But you could have been short all the way through here, and I was with Microsoft and Apple. So those were two really nice winners. Yeah, so we're just bouncing here, bouncing around. So we'll probably test yesterday's AVUOP, end of day AVUOP. Looks like we already did. Definitely interesting. Timar says I like 10B. Yeah, the D1 doesn't look bad. I don't know if it's the best or the worst. I mean, look at what's coming in here though on this candle. Apple entry yesterday was, I think it was somewhere in here. It was early, and then I held it through. It was still showing relative weakness here, even though it popped above VWAP. And then this was like the news candle that, I don't know if you want to call it a solo or whatever it was yesterday. And the market popped so hard, that candle. Right, the market popped so hard, and I said, "Uh-oh, my shorts are in trouble here." And then, but I didn't panic. I was like, "All right, let's see what happens in this next candle." And the next candle for SPY was a little bit of a bear hammer, still concerning, right? And to me, it's like, all right, you either triggered a bunch of stops, or this could be, this could take off. So I was keeping a really close eye on the market, and as it started to drift lower, and Apple just didn't look like it had the same volume that the market got on that candle, I was like, all right, we'll hold on to this and see. And the market just kind of started to peter out from there. So a little bit luck, but also, having a little bit of a leash too to say, was this really relative weakness that I saw? And I definitely feel like on Apple there was some. On Microsoft as well. The pop that Microsoft had was negligent as well, or was minimal, negligent. Is that the right word? It was trivial compared to SPY. Yeah, I mean, dude, it sucks. This environment is really tough. I mean, there's another world where that just simply goes the other way, and some of it was maybe news and luck there, but yeah, I mean, it worked out, and I took, gains into strength at the end of the day, and I was like happy with that. So looking at VIX, VIX has come down pretty significantly. VIX has to, in general, just come down over time, and it has been, right? Despite some of the craziness with the market, it has been just coming down, um, and not popping as hard. And I think some of it has to do with obviously with the tariffs being postponed, but there's still news on the tariffs that's in the offing, right? The Trump keeps saying that there's like 70 countries negotiating and all this stuff. Like you would say that that would probably be a bullish indicator for the market because it sounds like he's making deals, quote unquote, or um, is baking in basically some stipulations for specific industries, specific businesses, and you don't know what those are. And I mean, only he knows, and probably some insiders at those businesses. So, I mean, when you know there's a bunch of news still on the docket, for me, I'm back to pretty much day trading mode. Uh, I mean, yesterday's price action, bar the end of the day bounce, there's a world that you say, wow, this is super bearish. And, there's people saying that they'd be swinging short. Well, look what happened if you got short on the big bounce yesterday, which really had some volume coming in. Um, you had a gap up that is now retraced. Would you have held it through that? I don't know. Like, that's a question for you. Uh, but now you're probably about break even on any position, especially if it didn't have relative weakness. So keep that in mind. Curious on stocks as well. Does it make RSRW less valid? I think volume is important. It's kind of like the final, like, not final, but one of the final check marks where you're like, yeah, this is there's potential here. There's volume building, right? And UNH obviously you had earnings, so it can't really say that. Amgen, pretty big move down after yesterday. That one looks good. Definitely interesting. We'll leave this one up. Starbucks not as great today, but put it in a little bit of a hammer this morning. We had this on the interesting list. If not, we'll add it. We'll add Amgen, AA, Alcoa. Aren't they aluminum? Yeah. Yeah, this one's also probably going to get hit by tariff news at some point, and I don't know what that means for this one, but D1's definitely interesting. Not bad. Let's see here. Hims has been popping up quite a bit. Let's look at that one real quick. Breach of the 200 today, but it looks like it's retraced almost all the way back up. What would you want to see here? Well, if you see the market fail, then maybe there's a world where you can latch on to this below the 200. I don't love that, especially this price action here. Is this earnings? Why did it dump so hard? Is there news? There's got to be news. Got crushed. I don't know. We'll see how the 200 plays there, but it definitely looks like to me like it's relevant, right? Couldn't not be. Look at that hammer. Respecting it. Weak bounce. Like, does this take a leg down if the market decides to take a leg down? Probably. I don't mind it. Look at change just for the heck of it. This is a meme stock a little bit, right? There a lotto here. Like $26 puts. So where I've been getting myself in trouble is doing weeklies. It's a little more gambly, moves quicker. You're looking for just one move, but you also could get wrecked. because you have to size appropriate there. You really have to size down, and you have to stick your entry. Look at this from this market, from this candle. Rejecting VWAP. What I like about HIMS is you can just use this as your clear support, and it's like, okay, if the market dumps out, are we gonna retest this, right? And it's only one move. You're not looking for a massive move here. You're just looking for what this would be, but it's still 5-6%. Okay, let me keep flipping. We said Amgen was interesting. Let's look at TMO. TMO had been breach of a longer term trend line previously, and now it's curling. Kind of interesting there. mRNA, consolidation here. VSX, ABT's been stronger. Since we're mainly looking short, you know, these don't really resonate much with me, especially when they're in the cloud, especially when they're kind of futzing with an SMA. Yeah, nothing really there. Heavy, probably nothing here. Yeah, same story. Just kind of consolidating. Nothing there. MRK has been weak, bouncing today. Kind of interesting. While the sector is weaker, I don't know if there's some. I mean, what is there news here in LLY? Was this earnings? There had to have been news. Pre-market positive phase 3 trials for orforglipron. Orforglipron? Injectables and average weight loss of 16. Man, weight loss drugs just making this market, man. We're just pumping on weight loss drugs. Very interesting. It had earnings. Okay, good shout, good shout. Workday. Definite weakness. Definite weakness. Nice shout there, DMMC. Are you trading this one? So we were looking at these, and they're 34 cents. Is that right? It's the same day. If we went further out, you have some decent volume down here. 252. They're still cheap. What's the low of the day? 284. So not a big move. 30, 50 cents maybe. Some decent volume here. Really good delta, but these are, like I said, these would be lottos. Right? And what's the move? 183 low a day. What's this doing? I don't know. I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm in no rush to take a trade this morning. But if anything, this looks like, you know, bearish. You're testing that one standard, or the AVU op from the end of day yesterday right here, this line. Definitely something here. And we're just building this channel. Right? We're going to see how this wants to reflect. What you would probably like to see, in my opinion, is a bounce of this back to VWAP and a fail of that. So Amgen already tested the relative low here today. We like Workday. That's pretty solid. There's definite weakness here. We're going to add to the interesting list. What else is on the interesting list and needs to be removed? This has really been cut down, so let's do a quick peek. Walmart's been strong, but then breached back below the SMA. I don't think this is on the list here. Starbucks from yesterday. Alb has been weak, retesting the relative low, kind of. I don't know if it deserves to be on the list anymore. BMY has been a good one. Definitely a good short. Continues to find new relative lows, despite that move on April 9th. Rocket Lab has been stronger, bouncing a little bit here, and now pulling back from the 50. I mean, where would you be interested? Probably there. Workday and Amgen that we just had. I do like Workday. There's definitely something here in this chart. So we'll leave that up. Hold please. Let me just check the account. I mean, workday looks real good. And here's the market testing that level and might not even get the retest. I mean, you could have potentially even gotten it in the same candle. It's so jumbled in here and so tight. You know, we're in a pretty tight range here. What was I going to look at? I was going to look at workday change just for the heck of it. What would you want from workday to have an entry? You would want to find some support, and you want to see it bounce. And what can you also do? You can throw on a VWAP here. So you probably have some more support coming in, or resistance to the downside at 221-ish, which is also a pivot point. You know, without the pullback, there's not enough room here, I don't think, for a trade. But it's definitely relatively weak, so we'll keep an eye on it. What else people got here? Nvidia seems like a short. Definitely looks weak. Yesterday it was a little weak too, until the end of the day. I'm not big on shorting Nvidia, but there's definitely something here. Apple, nothing crazy. Tesla, nothing crazy. Microsoft, some weakness. Continued a little bit from yesterday, perhaps. Amazon was the other one that I was saying maybe there's some weakness, you know, below the AVO from the relative low. Definitely something there between those two. Meta as well. Google, look at that. I mean, the mags are weak this morning. Definitely weak. Maybe dragging the market down a little bit. Netflix holding up above the 50, one of the stronger ones. Costco also, one of the stronger ones too. Testing the 50, testing the top of the cloud. And there's the next candle. You didn't even get the retracement. And we're already, you know, testing the bottom of this consolidation. So was there a short here, perhaps? We were looking at HIMS. No, nothing there. And it's holding the 8 and the 15. So what would you want here? Probably want to see it. Obviously, anything above the 200 invalidates this. It's now showing some strength this morning. So I think this is probably not a trade, but you would want to see it at least break view up to even consider a trade here on HIMS. But we'll keep it up. Workday's been good. Amgen bouncing as well, so this one can come off the list for now. And we'll see if the sectors are showing anything. SMH is still the weakest, so let's look at SMH. We already mentioned NVIDIA, and the weakness in NVIDIA is going to be indicative of that weakness in semiconductors. SMCI, some weakness. Look at that guy. Another one, definitely not bad. It's semiconductors in general, right? There's definite weakness. MU, we know MU's a mover. Look at that guy. I mean, when you see a chart like that, you're like, why do I even have these other ones up? Right? There's consolidation here. There's a lot to get through probably, especially down to 66.10. But if you get a pullback, you know, is there an entry short here? That's what we'll be keeping an eye on. Let's look at cores. Definitely looks good here. Yeah, I mean, look at that intraday. Finding some really good ones here, guys. The question is, how do you find an entry? And we will see. We'll watch the market. Piton, not bad. Company sucks. I don't really understand how it even popped and whatever. It's probably a little too cheap for what I'd be interested in. But I get it. We do know that there's some earnings coming out of this. So it is interesting to see such weakness, especially with TSMC reporting well from what I was reading. We'll probably go look and see what Trading Edge said about TSMC as well, because I think that that could be relevant. Let's see. He usually does like a roundup of what happened. Following nature, important quant update for OPEX. We'll look at those two. Yeah, see, we're not even getting our pullback. So maybe this was, like we said, that bearish hammer, a little bit of an entry signal. Hard to say. But like I said, I'm in no rush today. We're still above the yesterday's close, which is here. So what would that tell you? Probably a good place to wait. If Harry Pete, what do they say? A good rule of thumb is if you're still inside yesterday's candle, you don't really look to take a trade unless you're trying to slam an entry. But we have some good RW stocks that we've identified, right? And it seems like something out of SMH really would be a good pick here. I really like MU because it moves so much. I just am wary of all this horizontal here. Somewhere in here, it's going to find some support. SMCI is a little bit better. And we know NVIDIA is getting hammered tier 2. So get rid of this. Get rid of this. So yeah, I did sell calls or sell puts on NVIDIA back down here. Somewhere in here. Took some nice returns on that. Let's see this bounce. Let's see a bounce happen. While we're waiting for the bounce, we'll pull up SPX and we'll just look at the quant numbers coming in from Trading Edge. He had yesterday 5260 as an important number in 5250. They were definitely showing some support yesterday, so kind of interesting. Probably today we see a choppy day. Downside levels to watch at 5200, which we already have on the chart. And below that, 5284. I don't think he thought that one through. But he's saying 5284 is an important level, so we'll see. All right. Some supportive flow expected today as dealers will buy back, and we will see put decay due to OPEX. Yep, so we got some OPEX going on here because of the holiday. Key upside levels 5300 and 5330. He says 5330 is pretty strong. So, I mean, we can just throw them on there. Round numbers, right? For whatever reason. Throw them on and see. It's the only way to do it, in my opinion. 5400. $53.66. I don't know. If we get closer to that, we'll throw these on there. I don't think they're really relevant. And then anything below? He says only above, which is kind of interesting. Nothing really below. 51.84 maybe he means. Anyways, but look, no pullback. SPX. Yeah, no pullback. And look at these. Yep, just continuation. So yeah, that maybe was your entry. Cores looks great. Cheap stock as well, right? How do you trade it? Maybe you just short shares. And so, I mean, tough to say. And so we could throw one standard deviation on here too. It's pretty tight, right? You have it right here, right? Breach above, retest back down through VWAP. Tried to get back above VWAP, couldn't. This to me is the key candle. We said that earlier. That's it, right when I was looking at an entry at the chains for HIMS. And I don't think that would have paid off, but we just didn't see the right relative weakness in time. So we won't chase here. No FOMO Joe, but like we said, we're looking for a bounce and then a move back down. This is one standard deviation off of yesterday's end of day AVWAP right here. So let's see if there's support here. Definitely interesting. Weak shorted GPN. I know we pointed that out off the chart earlier. Let's take a quick look. Wrong one. GPN. Oh yeah, look at that D1. On volume too. Is there news? Why is it down 17? There's got to be news. price adjustments. Oh, they're acquiring WorldPay. I think WorldPay is huge. I don't know the details here. The payment world is so murky to me, and it's so shitty. It's just like, you know, the go-betweens. Workday yesterday standard testing. It's funny you should sit. Or how come Trading Edge is free? So much good information. Oh, he is monetizing? Of course he is. I mean, everyone doesn't surprise me. I mean, everyone monetizes to some extent, and I don't blame them. If you got good info, I get it. You won't be seeing demonetized here. I'll say that. Anything on TSM? Where is? Wanted to read what they said about guidance. Key comments from TSM: not seeing any impact. Okay, not seeing any change in customer behavior due to U.S. tariffs. Revenue from AI expected to double in 2025. Reiterates mid-20s growth for TSMC in current year 25. Continues to see strong AI-related demand. Doesn't acknowledge any pull-in related to tariffs, likely, especially given Q2 is typically a slower season. But they are building a fab in Arizona. All right, well, kind of interesting. And look at the market, man. Just dump out. And sometimes you can't ride the wave. Look at Google. Yeah, we saw Google earlier. Holy shit, what is that candle? What is that? It's got to be news. Super weak. VIX coming up. Meg's coming down. That is volume right there. This is likely irrelevant. Huh. Let's look at Chocolate's Uber real quick. Oh yeah. Confirming above the 200 it looks like. Looks good. Just don't have the market tailwind. Google Alphabet price target lowered 185 from 210 at Morgan Stanley. Hey, Google just woke up. That's funny. Putting in a doji here, is that because of this? Nah. I mean, that's definite relative weakness. That's bad. Like, I mean, Nvidia, too. Happy Easter. Well, let me check my phone here real quick. Yeah, so I'll go for a little bit here. Not too long today. I don't plan on being super active today. Like I said, we're going to keep an eye on it. We'll see if something materializes. At this point, it's probably going to be some sort of bounce here. But if we don't get a bounce, then I'm not going to chase it either. And we'll let the long weekend kind of sort itself out. SMCI was one we said because SMH is just generally weak. And look at that guy. Just continues to dump out. MU bouncing. Cores is the other one. I think this one's also involved in that space, isn't it? Isn't this a semiconductor? Oh, this is blockchain. And we said uber strong, so definitely interesting. Yeah, I mean the market in general just coming down. You can see it all here. Workday still relative weak. Yeah, I mean looks great. How are you going to trade this though? Uh, in my opinion, you hit resistance here, 2021 30-ish, because that's the AVWAP from the relative low. Uh, Not saying that it can't break below that, especially if this market just continues down, but that's a level that I would be keeping an eye on. Yeah, a lot of these tech stocks are kind of doing this dance, right? This curl. This one's already below. Pulling back. Just looking around, seeing what's going on out there. Oof. But yeah, Workday looks great. I like that pick a lot. Good shout. Uh, Hard to, so it doesn't sound like there was really any news on Google. Just decided to take its Thursday dump out. Cisco got an alert, but it's fine. I don't really care. I don't even know why I set an alert on that. Yeah, the other thing you could get in here and look at what's going on in here. Maybe interesting. Uh, that's actually one we want to look at. Let's look at ARM. Not bad. Let's just look at QCOM and AVGO. Wasn't Harry short AVGO? Something there. Nice weakness. I mean, a lot of decent options. It's just about where do you latch on. Pretty weak market this morning. A report from the Atlanta Fed shows that workers who stayed put in their jobs last month saw a 4.6% wage increase. Okay. Had this. Prophet just shouting at people in RDT chat. I love it. It's always funny to see new people come in here. They're all exciting. They're excited. Yeah, I mean, this is tough. I think I had the urge to get short here, like I said earlier, but didn't, and here we are. You're just seeing the move happen without you. So like we said, gotta let the wave go sometimes. Not much you can do about it. And so, I mean, look at that from Google. There's definitely something there. Nvidia is selling off. And so, what do we say this morning? We said there was consideration yesterday with the price action to consider overnight swings. Well, if you had swung overnight, you would have gotten a gap up, which is fine, but now you would be in the money. I don't know. Hard to say. But, I mean, there's definitely a world where there's some serious weakness going around. Yeah. And unclear if it's news, but we know the general macro picture, and it's not good. So, Google breached antitrust laws, re-ad tech. Go figure. Zero surprise there. Zero surprise. What else do we got? So we're back at some support levels from yesterday. We'll see. We'll watch the market. If we wanted to keep flipping charts, let's just look at LMT real quick, just to see what happened. Thank you. All these are dragged down together, likely. MMC, PGR. All right, let's look at LMT. Earnings in 5 days, like we said before, probably nothing there because of that. Yeah, and look at this retrace already this morning. Probably nothing here. PGR. Nice orderly. Price action. The problem is this stock's in the upper right. It is interesting seeing it break down a little bit. But look, you're in the cloud now. You're below the 50, which is what it breached today, which is good. But then where's the trade, right? Are you just going to ride it to the 100 in the bottom of the cloud here? It's only 2%. I don't know. I don't think so. To me, it's probably bounce, look for an entry here to retest. That would be how I would trade that. And it doesn't move that crazy either, right? You're also in earnings season for banks. I think it'd be tough to hold that with any real conviction. Yesterday, I was looking in the chat. I don't know if it was the Learning Center or something. Where was that? Someone was just talking about how they see things, they don't take the trade, you know, they feel FOMO, they feel like they should sit out because of the market and all this stuff, like, and then you start questioning your thesis, you start questioning all these different things. I think you have to be willing to take trades, otherwise you're, you know, obviously never going to make any money. But the other side of that too is like, are you asking yourself questions, tough questions about where you're at, what's the market at? Hold on, let me read something. My wife telling me that the market's closed tomorrow. But you got to be constantly asking yourself questions, right? Is the market in a place where I should be looking for an entry? Well, it's bouncing, maybe, right? What stocks am I interested in? Is this the the fastest runner? Is this the best relative weakness I see out there, right? Are there earnings considerations that I need to think about? Are there news considerations that are on the docket that I need to think about, right? Is this sector weak? Is this sector strong, right? Are you running through all those different thoughts? And sorry, but you should be asking yourself those questions on a constant basis, right? And every time you're about to take a trade, those are the questions you should be running through in your head. And that keeps me in trades, it keeps me out of trades. If you're in a trade and you're looking at the trade and you're like, would I still enter this if I wasn't in it? Well, then maybe that changes your thesis a little bit about how you're going to manage the trade. Maybe it becomes a little bit more about, okay, maybe I just need to, from a self-preservation standpoint, be willing to cut this if I get, a little bit of a gain. How's the market performing while you're in the trade? How's the sector performing? Are we finding support? Are there significant levels nearby for the sector, for sympathy company, for anything, right? I think you just have to constantly be asking those questions and be running through that. So let's see what the market does here. We're bouncing. So yeah, we'd be looking for something short here as a bounce. SMCI is the one that really is speaking to me here. We'll throw a view up on here. Yeah, SMCI speaking to me. Cores looks good. AVGO, maybe. And then Workday is the other one that we know we like. And you know, these stocks that are the weakest, they're not really going to come up for air. But look what you have. You have some volume coming in here, right? You have volume coming in on this candle. I think you have to wait and see what happens with the next candle. If it's just an immediate rejection down here, I mean, this is weak and there's not much you can do. I guess I could be pulling up chains for SMCI and Workday just to take a peek and see what that looks like. Would like more of a bounce though. Just testing the 8, that's fine. Did we get rid of MU? Let's see what MU's doing. Alright, a little bit clearer on MU. It feels to me like it's something in SMH. If we were going to trade something here. Hack still weak. Let's go back in there and see. I mean, the D1s for some of these are not great. I mean, maybe Sentinel 1? Maybe? I don't know. I don't love it. MU. Anyways, Prophet, are you in here? Are you working today, or are you just trading? I'm just nasally. I don't know why. I think it's a little chilly out right now. That's a shame. One of these days when you're not working, I have to get you in here and chat it up. 10B, you said there's a hammer at 10:15 TMAR. Let's just take a quick look. $10.15, this one. My thought process on that is obviously there's volume, but we know that the volume on this stock sucks, right? In general. I mean, this is not indicative of a good volume. To me, it just means that there's probably a level there. I mean, you have a pivot point. It kind of correlates with some horizontal. I mean, we could just go to the 15 or go to the 30 minute, and you'll see it. It's right. I mean, there's some right there. It looks like with this pivot point, and these are more like a highlighter than a flat line. But obviously, you have something here. Probably something right there. You know, he threw that line in. Probably something here. I can't draw straight right now. Why am I using that? I did. You know what? You saying that? I did. I forgot. I went out for drinks with my cousins last night, so that could be part of it. I mean, you definitely have some levels in here, right? That are going to be relevant, and where exactly, hard to say. But if we go to the 5-minute chart, I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, Prophet, we'll get you in here one day. We'll chop it up, see what you're looking at, talk through your setup, and talk through you know what you're looking for. Mr. Blue Trader, Mr. Intermediate, you. It's gonna be nice to not trade tomorrow. Not that I needed a day off, but it would be good to get a day off the desk a little bit. Yeah, Yeah, let me know. Let me know. I'm always around. Who else? Anyone have anything? Thoughts? I mean, this market is... It is bouncing. Let's see. Yep. All right, so is it going to do what we kind of are hoping, right? We're looking for it to, the bounce to stall, and then you're going to see, you know, what could be a good potential entry here. SMCI still holding the 8. EVGO, same. MU maybe a little bit stronger. Let's look at Google again. Right, Google bouncing. So, you know, if it was just news, it's pretty slow to find out what that news was, right? It didn't really get reported right away. Kind of interesting. Look at that hammer on Apple. That's not weak. All right, so SPY putting in the hammer here now. So we should be looking for an entry on something if you want to be short. Cores. Nah, not ABGO. Let's look at MU. Let's see what like an MU or SMCI lotto looks like. Let's see what Workday is doing right now. Not a whole ton, same spot. I think I like it in semiconductors. And what's Nvidia doing? Same story. There's not enough room here. 60 cents. I don't know. I mean, this definitely feels like an entry. I guess we'll wait and see. I still hadn't found anything convincing. SMCI maybe is the best one that I see. Did you go, what, a week out? A lot of volume on the 30-hour puts, pretty cheap. You go 2 weeks out. Not as good a volume. Yeah, those 32 are pretty nice. 34 aren't bad. Problem is you're pretty much at low a day. I don't know. I don't know. What's VIX doing? Kind of moving up. Mags are curling. I don't know. I'm not convinced. What level were we testing? We're barely below yesterday's close. Workday right there bounced off of a VWAP from that relative low. SMR might be something.
Looks like nuclear in general again. All right, I'll take a look at nuclear here. It looks like Profit was looking at that too. Oh yeah, NNE, nice shout. Getting crushed today. SMR, definitely something there. Yeah, I like SMR a lot. Two good picks. Look at this bear, or look at this Doji. There's not a ton of room here, right? And if you see this Doji here now, and then slowly move back up to AVUOP from today, it's kind of like, at some point you would think we would retest the low a day, but it's gonna try again. Let's see. So yeah, we said we like SMCI. We like something from SMH. NU definitely looks good. Nvidia still plumbing, and so that's why we would be comfortable in SMH. It's just haven't found an entry. We were looking at MU. Let's look at that one again. There's too much to get through. I'm gonna pull that one down. Is there a world you just short Nvidia? Well, you only have like $1 or $2 to play with here. I just don't see a ton of room down right now. So I'm going to be on my hands for the time being. Easy says sellers are present but are not aggressive. This was a short entry we would see for standard deviation. Standard deviation defended definitely and not chopped through. Well, this is first standard deviation here. We will see. Not all the room sellers aren't very aggressive. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still expecting somewhat of a day of rest. Yesterday was like pretty bearish until the end of the day. So, um, well, what do you think? 40 people here. What do you guys have questions, thoughts? Do you want me to see if anyone else wants to come on and chop it up, talk it out? I don't know if there's anyone else in the chat that feels like you're comfortable or want to talk through anything. We had Reeks on not too long ago. We should probably see if he wants to get on again at some point. Looks like he took a nice dollar off of GPN. Good for him. Definitely bouncing here a little bit. And so, like I said, I was happy to wait here because where I've been getting myself into trouble in this market is being too early and being too aggressive with both size and with time in the options that I purchase. The other side of that, right, is like we said, if you're, you want a little bit more cushion, then selling theta is probably the way to go. And if you wanted to be short, you could sell covered calls. If you wanted to be long, you could sell puts. I'm not in the business of selling puts here right now until we find some more support, right? Are we gonna put in this? These levels seem kind of important to me, and we've been kind of waffling around them yesterday as well. But 52.60, 52.50, like I mean, kind of, it's about halfway up the candle of the tariff candle. Right, you have all-time high AVOP as well coming in. One standard deviation here, I think. Right, is that what this is? Sorry, AVOP Q. One standard deviation. So I mean, is it AVOP Q 13 or is this? I don't know. That's the relative low from the 13th. Maybe interesting. The 21st is AVO Q, so let's put it on there. It's also high volume. So much purple. Probably should get that sorted out at one of these days. I think it's right there. Yep. So yeah, I mean, this to me seems like some pretty significant levels. And we'll just highlight these a little bit. Not blue, because that's... we could honestly just fizzle out into no man's land. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Fizzle out into the holiday weekend. I'm staying cautious today. Very low volume. Trump is pretty pissed with J-Pal. Feels like he may say something to pump the market. He could try. It wouldn't surprise me. Bubbles, what's going on, dude? Would you... So you're saying you're looking for a short to low a day? That's what I would be ideally looking for, but there's not enough room here, right? There's not enough room. You have significant support down here. This is kind of like your basement, and it's like you'd want to test the low of the day and or take another leg lower, but you have more support below too. So I think it's tough. It's tough to be short here. Would like to see told the trader it was still a day trade. Would you have to see it reach yesterday's low day? I'm sure it is nuanced, but you would want to see relative weakness preserved, right? And the relative weaknesses in semiconductors with NVIDIA. And you're starting to see support forming across the board. So it kind of tells me, you know, wait and see. Micho, what's going on, dude? I'm in no rush. You also know that professional traders probably taking an early day here, light holiday volume because Friday is off. Wouldn't surprise me. I don't know, something to consider. Flip some charts over here real quick, see what that looks like. Earnings probably. Let's see what else we got. D1 comp break. Let's see what that looks like. UNH we know is earnings. Probably earnings. Empathy. SMCI is on the list. That we like that one. NVIDIA makes sense. Imphy, I don't know what this is. Looks like garbage. S is on the list. So a lot of the things that we had been looking at this morning are already on the list. Amgen we looked at this morning too, on the list. Rallying though, from the low of the day. ANET. Yeah, I mean I don't use ZenBot that often, but dude, it's a great scanner in general. This one I'm on D1 comp break. The D1 daily scans are usually pretty nice. Not a ton to write home about. Definitely interesting. Yeah, no problem, Bubbles. Been watching HRB since it broke 411 L minus, going up daily. With proper filters, it is a great scanner for sure. Yeah, I'm a big fan. It's free, man. It's a free resource. Look at this hammer coming in on SPY. I mean, there's definitely potential for leg lower. These levels might mean nothing. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I mean, you have the bottom of this candle here too that looks like it's relevant. This just seems like a pretty big zone of influence. So what can you do? You can just set an alert here. Of course it goes off. It's because we already triggered it today. We'll just do it right here. Add alert, and we'll go 250, 520, 59, 90. Okay. And we'll see. Probably also have one on VIX. VIX is already at the high of the day. You know, kind of gives you a clue about which direction you should be looking. Do you eyeball relative volume or do you use some kind of RVol indicator? I eyeball it, but also I don't really look at RVol that much. I look more at like the average volume on the day for these candles, which I think is relevant. I mean, you can pull it in here too if you really want to, but you can kind of see what's important here and what's not in terms of average volume. VIX gap fill, I don't personally think that matters. I've never really thought that it was that important. VIX to me was always just more of an indicator, but it definitely is doing something here. Definitely did something yesterday in terms of a gap fill. I don't know, maybe there's something there that we should be looking into. Look at this. I guess that wasn't really a gap, but still. Gap fill here. Maybe you're onto something here that we don't normally look at. That might be something worthwhile to look back at. Or maybe something we should ask our boy Trading Edge. I agree. Blake, you see it coming down right now too? And look, we're getting a bounce. Google, let's see if this news is really anything to write home about. And this is, in this bounce, this is where we're going to identify real relative weakness. Tesla's stronger. Look, so the mags are probably popping here. A little bit. SMH still below the 15. So let's identify relative weakness here. SMCI still looks good. SMR still looks good. Workday, not bad. We'll see. You would want to see it preserve VWAP. And same with cores, obviously. So we'll see. And this is a bounce and a test of VWAP here on SPY. So many... Oh, that's why it's not even on. Yeah, we're through VWAP. It's right here. So many big AV ops in here. We're just bouncing right between them. All right, so the question then for you now, right, is like, what does this candle tell you? Well, there's volume coming in. Is there news? Interesting. I don't think so. I think OPEX would be later in the day. Feels like news. Harry short Nvidia puts, lottos. $100 puts for 95 cents, probably getting beat up a little bit right now. I see it though. Definite weakness in SMH. Yeah, those are getting wrecked right now. It's a semiconductor stock. Just which one is it? And it's about sticking an entry. And is this opportunity? I don't like where this is going. QQQ is also above VWAP now. Looks like it's a little bit below. Or looks like it's respecting it potentially more than SPY. rejected one standard deviation right through to one standard deviation. Is it MU? Is that the one? It's like such a small move though. 1%? You'd have to take it out. It's not MU. Why do I keep looking at MU? It's not MU. I mean, you like that hammer coming in, but I really don't think it's MU. What else is in here? There's got to be something else. It probably, I guess, is just Nvidia. It's probably still off of that news. Let's see what the market does here. I mean, this feels very LPTE-ish because of that candle. Google almost retraced back through VWAP. Amazon at VWAP. Microsoft at VWAP. Tesla above, Netflix above, Costco above. I mean, look what it does. It's like one pretty big volume candle. All that takes to make this look like a hammer now. Right? Off of what? Hammer off of that those support levels that we were just saying seem like pretty significant support. I don't know. But that's a tough trading environment. And look where they were, right? Right there was the level of support was low a day. I don't know. I see something there. How would you get long here if you really wanted to? Well, what you would want to see is a failed retest of VWAP, and then you'd want to see it start turning the other direction. Is that guaranteed? No. Is there so much news on the board that could cause it to go the other way? Absolutely. The thing with this is, you know, you wouldn't be getting long selling or buying calls. You, I think, would be either getting long shares or you'd be buying or selling puts rather. And if you're selling puts, then you're trying to farm the theta, and you know that's a time game. And so if it's a time game in a market where you know that it's so news driven, of which there could be negative news that comes out and really tanks us, you would maybe say to yourself, okay, we got to make sure that we find support first. Well, you would really want to confirm support at these levels to be considering selling theta. But it's juiced to high heaven, and you could make some good money on it. Man, let's look at man. Woof, earnings though, right? Yeah. I mean, there's definitely something here, right, of continuation after earnings. If it was like so bad, you see something like what that happened with TCD after earnings, right? Look at this, gap down, and then just continue, just slow bleed out for literally like a month. Obviously, the market doesn't help, but this thing has just been dumb weak for a long time since earnings. So I see the thesis for manpower. I don't know. I'm not in the business right now of really swinging too hard. All right, let's see what the market does here. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're going to test high today, and this is just like range-bound choppiness. We're inside the big candle. We're inside yesterday's candle. It's just a giant nesting doll. What do they call those? Russian nesting dolls? Matryoshka? It's just a matryoshka. Anyways, um, I don't know. I'm gonna like I do enjoy the streaming stuff. We'll see if I pick it back up a little bit more next week. It's Easter weekend. I do have a lot of family in town that's been here this week and next week for a little bit probably, so that kind of prevents some of it. But I don't know. When the market's like this, it makes it harder to trade, and I'm looking for much scalpier day trades, and when I'm doing that, especially in LPTE, it's I like to be a little bit more locked in, and it makes it a little harder on the stream. But I don't know. No problem. You're rific. Thanks for having. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, man. I don't know. I think that's the whole point, right? Is if we can get more people, more people in here that are just learning stuff. That's the whole gist of it. Um, but it's tough, right? Especially when the market's like this and it's so news driven. Technicals become less important, right? Technical levels get blown through because of news. Like just look at Google, right? Two big dumps out on candles, and look what happened, reversal. Technical is yesterday. If we go to SPY yesterday and you saw that one candle, let me go to SPY for whatever reason on SPX, it's not there, but you saw this solo candle. Some people saw this and were like, I got to get long, or they were waiting on this pullback and they were like, I got to get long in here, and then look what happened. And some of that is news induced. Um, I mean, all you have to do is look at this candle to see a bounce, massive bounce on the market. One of the biggest ones in history, even. I think they're saying, from percentage-wise basis on April 9th, that, you know, changes the picture of the TA, changes the picture of the price action that we're seeing. And so when it's news-driven that much, technical levels get violated all the time. And even though it's the same rules, the rules still apply, right? You have all these levels on your chart, you're just seeing what reflects. But when they technicals start breaking down because of news, because of uncertainty, well, that's what makes it harder to trade, and it becomes much more gambly. And so your trade management becomes that much more important. DVAX paying no mind to this bounce. Are drug manufacturers similar to biotechs? They are. DVAX. Yeah, I don't know. I've never even heard of this company. You got a lot of horizontal coming in. Got 2 weeks till earnings. What do they do? Just novel vaccines in general. I don't know. It's definitely getting beat up, though. Pretty far from the 8, pretty extended. I see it. Intraday looks good. Definitely relative weak. Little hammer coming in, though. Like, how are you getting short right now, I guess is the question, unless you wanted to do all the lifting. I think that's tough. And so this is just overlapping choppiness, right? We're just bouncing between these levels. I think it's tough to trade here. In fact, it's quite LPTE, and it's getting even more so with this hammer. So I don't really see much else here. I don't know. What are other people saying in the Discord? Are people saying that it's LPT-ish? Maybe. Yeah. So I mean, Harry and Pete's video yesterday, I thought was pretty solid. I thought there was some good tidbits in there. A little preachy, towards the end. I mean, I get why Harry says the things that he does, but for most of us who have been around, we know. He doesn't need to reiterate. And those that can't appreciate that, they can F off. Frig off, Mr. Leahy. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is just going to be a tough market to trade here. You have the significant support below. Is this going to fail this level here, which was the open and also the retest? I don't know. Maybe. Is there a short to be taken? I think it would be pretty hard pressed to do that, in my opinion. So, I don't know. I think I'll probably just call it here. Unless there's other stuff you guys want to talk about, I can probably just. I'll probably just keep an eye on it the rest of the day. Trailer Park Boys, yeah, it's funny. It's the good stuff. The Canadian good stuff. Yeah, I mean it's like one of those, right? It's funny, right? I at least took the trading because I wanted more time, especially during the day to watch things that I'm interested in, whether it be and or play video games, watch football, soccer, that is, and other stuff that happens during the day in Europe and stuff. But I still do those things, but the more I trade, the more I'm kind of glued to the desk and also keeping an eye on the market. And so it's a fine balance, right? You want to be just active enough, but also just disassociated enough that like you're not too in the weeds on the TA and or taking trades because of it, or panicking because of it, etc. So, man, there's just so many AV ops through here that it's hard to even just register. I'm gonna have to clean this up. Normally it's green, but let's make it like something easier to see. Why does it keep doing that? It's annoying. There we go. There we go. Now we can see it. Kind of mixes with the 8 though. God, that's annoying. All right, pull back from the high today. That's what I'm saying. So can you just trade between these channels? I mean, maybe high a day, right, and open. I think this is just super tough trading environment. You had low a day, you had and you have VWAP here, right? Are you gonna test VWAP and bounce again? Are you gonna go through? You just have pretty little conviction either way here, in my opinion. So. Not a bad day to leave early. In this environment, do you consider other strategies than using the edge? I mean, you can trade the ETFs. I think it's a dangerous game though in here. And there are times where I trade between, in a channel, in consolidation. You can see it just bouncing between levels, but I'm not sure that this is it right now today. Volume, like we said, isn't great. And yeah, I will also say I'll be watching, but the last couple weeks I've taken bad trades on Fridays and really cut my returns. So I think today I'll probably keep it very limited unless I see something that really stands out to me. I mean, of course, we focus on the edge, but as you use AVOP, you consider it along with other rules. To me, I think AVOP is part of the edge, and if you don't use it, I think you're handicapping yourself. We give so much value to VWAP, it doesn't make sense not to use AVOPs. First candle of the day AVWAP is VWAP. I'll use yesterday's AVWAP. I'll use any significant candle. So we threw in on April 9th. We threw in on the 21st, which is AVWAP Q quarterly options expiration. We use a lot of different ones. T-Mar says RHI. Oh yeah. What is it? Robert Half? Staffing company? Interesting. Thing's been getting beat up for a while. Definitely interesting. Slow mover down here. Nice hammer down off the 15. Look at SMR there. What was the other one? NNE. SMR is nice. You're at horizontal here, though. It might already be through it. Hard to say. Not a ton of room, but it's a cheap stock, so it doesn't take much. Man, NNE I think is a beautiful chart. Looks like it's made of a move already? I don't know. Unclear. I like NNE. We'll add it to the interesting list. Yeah, and so you're seeing a lot of bounce here. VIX coming back down towards low a day, and like VIX came down, gap down, but then hardly has moved down further, despite what you're seeing with this price action, which is pretty choppy. So, VWAP is just an AVWAP for the day, so it makes sense. Does everyone understand an AVWAP book? Yeah, exactly what Blake said. I would say, read into it or just do some more due diligence. Ask ChatGPT, ask AI about it. But we'll just be keeping an eye, and mainly I'm going to be keeping an eye on these levels on SPX, which feels like the low of the day. Was kind of the support that we're seeing be put in here, pretty significant it seems like, and then also to the upside, right? We'll be looking at the 8 and the 15 on SPY on SPX. What does it look like on SPY? To see how those are. I mean, yesterday we tested the 15, we tested the 8 as well. Yeah, I know. Kind of we're still in a bearish mindset. It's looking like a pretty big doji here today. Can you trade in this channel? I don't know. I think it'd be really tough. Maybe one more test to the low of the day. Maybe that wouldn't surprise me. Maybe. I don't know. So, all right. Well, not a long one. Hour and 45 minutes. Hopefully there's some interesting stuff in here. Stuff to keep you, I don't know, relatively locked in. Market kind of just is how it is right now. That is a good point, Profit. And I'll say this: there's a lot of questions about volume earlier. The thing that you could take as the most important thing is the volume that you would see in here in the options chains, because price is truth, right? And we know that options are being priced as accurately as possible. We're looking for the inefficiencies there. Well, the market makers are pricing these options, and what do you see within there? You see volume, you see open interest. That can tell you at what prices, kind of like GEX, similarly, that other people are interested. And when you do that, you can start to get an idea for, okay, is there something here that I maybe, should be interested in? That's the volume that I'd be interested in. And this volume in general kind of reflects as well with what you see volume-wise on the stock, right? Look at the volume here. Now, what was it? NNE. Like volume's lower, but like we could look at something like 10B. 10B, I bet you doesn't even have weekly options. Yeah, monthly options. Volume is garbage, right? And if we go back and we look at 10B, it's reflected here. Look at the volume, trash, right? So, anyways, typically that in general just keeps me away from a stock. And we could look at NNE too if we want. This one's a little bit more of a meme stock, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's more volume. Some, not great, but it's mostly just like dailies, weeklies. So not even really interesting to me. So yeah, keep an eye on this market. I think we'll just chop in this range. Range bound trading. Anything else to look at? We'll look at earnings one more time. Like I said, Netflix today after. When is Amex? That'll be an interesting one. AXS? AXP? AXP. Putting in a nice hammer today. You have earnings. Oh, it was this morning. Sold off, retraced. Maybe that's why we were seeing some sympathy from V, from MasterCard, DFS. MasterCard's getting smacked. What is that? Sorry, that's not a MasterCard. MA. Okay, so yeah, nothing to write home about here. So we'll see. All right. Well, I think we'll leave it at that. Good to see you guys around. Good to see some faces. And like I said, we'll try and get it going back again next week. And hopefully the market starts to settle down a little bit. But I don't have high hope for that. I think the administration will continue to chop us around a little bit here. And here's SPY again. It looks like we're back below VWAP. That's what I'm saying. It's pretty choppy stuff. Yeah. Good to have all you guys. Have a good holiday weekend. Enjoy Easter. We have some big Easter plans with the family, extended family, so that should be good. And yeah, shoot me a follow if you're not already. And hopefully, yeah, like I said, hopefully the market settles down a little bit. We'll be back on the stream a little bit more. Doesn't seem these are definitely not optimal trading environments. That's for sure. And so trade accordingly. But I'll be in the Discord. Yeah, no FOMO, like Blake said, and have a good holiday, and we'll catch you guys later. Cheers.